said it feels we're the only ones fighting for the truth of what happened to John O'Keefe. And me and my family and my attorneys and my team have marshaled every resource to get to the truth. It just feels like no one else wants it.
And Karen, just to be clear, you didn't do it.
We know who did it, Steve. We know. And we know who spearheaded this cover-up. You all know.
Yes, we do.
And no, she didn't do it. No, she didn't do it. This is an innocent woman. She didn't do it.
I tried to save his life. I tried to save his life at 6 in the morning. I was covered in his blood. I was the only one trying to save his life.
Why'd you admit to it?
She didn't admit to it. She didn't admit to anything close to that. Nothing close to that. And you should know that.
That was like 3 or 4 times she said it.
No, she didn't.
That's not true.
She asked a question.
It makes absolutely no sense. That is the Commonwealth grasping at straws. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck.
We have the 8 letters. We've seen them. We've read them. We are using them. The genie cannot be put back in the bottle.
Yeah, LTL true crime, we going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime, unraveling the web of evil. No stone left unturned, we dive into the pond. Yeah, we digging up the dirt, bringing justice to the crime. LTL true crime, unveiling dark realities every time. Yeah, LTL true crime, we going deep in the dark. Peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. Never get thought of your thoughts, and the look at the folks. LTL true crime, I go. We go get live in the show, but then I'm not talking, baby, they just so. Look at the place in the world, no tension with your life. No tension, love, we thought of your thoughts, yeah, we thought of your thoughts, and the look at the folks. I think real true crime. I'm done with dark realities every time. This is I think real true crime. I'm done with dark realities every time. Yeah, LTL true crime. We going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime. We going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime, we going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to LTL True Crime. We are live right now, and it is Friday night. It is February 2nd, 2024. I want to welcome everybody back into the live show. If you are here live, you can chat in the live chat there to the right-hand side of the screen, and feel free to do that. And if you're watching this on replay, please make sure to leave a comment after you watch this. I really would appreciate the feedback. Give it a thumbs up as you come in and all that good stuff. Have fun in the chat. What I wanted to do tonight was go back and look at a live that I did with Aidan Kearney back in October of 2023. I had first started streaming. I think my first stream about Karen Read was in September, like early September. And this is from October. What was the date on this? October 18, 2023. So I had been streaming about a month about Karen Read, reached out to Turtleboy and wanted to kind of just get him on my show and talk about the Read case at that time. It was still fairly new to me. I was just learning a lot about it. And I wanted to go back and see how our development in reporting on this, and if anything had changed, or if we consider anything had changed at that point. And it's so interesting to go back and look and see where it was at that point to where we are now, almost October, November, December, January, February, almost 5 months ahead from where we are. So let's pull that up. We'll go through this. I'm going to kind of sit down in the corner tonight, replay this, about an hour and a half interview. And I'm curious. I haven't gone back and watched this, and I thought it would be a great to go through and commentate and review this. So everybody sit back. We're going to have some fun and go through this. All right, here we go. Let's go. Everybody, welcome back to the LTL podcast. We are here live. Wearing a black October 18th, 2023. I cannot friggin' believe that we are almost through this year already. It's been crazy. And I have a very, very special guest on the panel today. And if you don't know who this is, we've talked a lot about him and a lot about the Karen Read case lately, but I'll give you a little bit of a bio before we ask our first question. So Aidan Kearney is AKA Turtleboy. He's a former school teacher, award-winning journalist that battles big tech censorship, threats, and political correctness to protect free speech and democracy. He's currently taken a huge interest in the controversial Canton, Mass. John O'Keefe Karen Read case that involves the death of a Boston police officer. He's done his own independent investigation and has written about 170 entries on his website, turtleboynews.com. About
TBDailynews.com.
I'm sorry, TBD. Thank you.
Yeah.
And he's recently been arrested, facing several criminal charges, including witness intimidation, for his outspoken defense of Karen Read, the woman on trial for allegedly killing her boyfriend. Real quick, just some highlight points here. He goes on to say, Facebook page with over 100,000 followers removed, 32 business pages taken down. Your blog has been blacklisted by Google AdSense. Phone numbers are permanently banned from creating Twitter accounts. He's laughing.
And, used to be. Elon fixed that.
I got you.
Yeah.
And you said that it's cost you $100,000. Why keep going? What's the drive?
The truth, man. I mean, it's just I love what I do. And that I think that you got that from my book that I published almost 4 or 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
And a lot has obviously changed since then. It's grown tremendously since then. There's been a lot of obstacles to get where I am today, but you just got to keep, when you love what you do, you will not allow other people to stop you from doing what you do. This whole bullshit about arresting me, this is supposed to get me to give up and quit. They got the wrong guy. They should have read my book. Don't waste your time trying to stop me.
I have to say this. So I admire, all the adversity that you've gone through in the past, couple of months here. I have to admire, because I'm a huge advocate, and a lot of people that watch my channel are a huge advocate of free speech. And I talk about it all the time. And I was just talking to you, backstage about it, how I feel like, our channels here, and I think I almost feel like mainstream media, YouTube, whatever the powers that be, those big corporate entities, they want to shut down. They want to shut us down. They don't want us talking. And I think that a lot of it is because, we've gotten smarter. And we have the power of the internet now at the tip of our hands, where 20 years ago, we didn't have that. We didn't have those resources. And I think, in the sense that just, if they can silence people from speaking and speaking the truth, that's what happens in these cases. How do you feel about that?
I mean, that's exactly what I exist to fight back against, is censorship, especially when powerful institutions, including the government, use their authority to silence dissenting voices. It's never it's never the people they agree with that they're trying to, silence. It's the dissenters. And it's been happening ever since I started Turtleboy. You're not supposed to say the things that I say, but it's never been as blatant and obvious as what happened a week ago. Right. And I'm sorry that I was supposed to go on your show a week ago.
Yeah.
But shit happened.
Yeah, of course.
I got arrested, and a lot, to me, it's almost better because you get a much better show out of this. Now, we have a shitload more we can talk about now.
You're right.
There's kind of a lull in the Karen Read story because there's not another hearing until January. Right. But now it's just let's go. Now I'm part of the story.
But I have to say, though, man, you were super gracious. You've been in contact with me the whole time. You'd be like, hey, dude, I'm sorry. Just circumstances. I get it, bro. You need to take care of your shit. Yeah. You need to take care of your shit. So let me ask you, and I'm very curious about this because I haven't heard much about it. But tell me how you first became involved in Karen Reed's case? Like what first got you into this?
Well, on April 17th, maybe a couple days earlier, I had seen an NBC 10 headline about a deleted Google search in the Karen Reed case, and I'm like, oh, I remember that story. That was
Yeah.
like the woman who hit her boyfriend. Oh yeah, I forgot about that story. Like it was in the news over a year ago, and then you kind of forgot about it. And then you see that, and you're like, deleted Google search. Click on that, and then it's like and Alan Jackson, the attorney, was saying that these charges need to be dropped based on this. And so I'm like, I'm going to read more about that when I get
Right.
home. And other people were like, you need to read the whole case filing. And so I read the whole case filing. It was the 17th, April 17th. And every page I read on Alan Jackson's 94-page affidavit was crazier than the last. And I made a Facebook post saying, I am reading and working on a story right now that is mind-boggling. That is just like, it is a story of a cop who appears to have been killed by another cop, and then an innocent woman is framed. And a lot of people in the comments are like, oh, it's the Canton story. Turtleboy's picking this up. And so I spent the next like 8 hours researching this and writing my story. And I hit the publish button at 3:30 in the morning, and it crashed the website. Like that's like traffic time. Like everyone was reading this. That story has over, I think, 500,000 views today.
Wow.
And it was the begin. Like usually I write a story like this, and it gets a lot of, if it gets a lot of views, it gets a lot of views, and then you move on to the next story. Not this one. This one's special because there's a new twist and turn every day that you didn't know about the day before. And they kind of make it easy for you because they give you content. Like locking me up or trying to is content. Like that's all I saw the whole ride down from Stoughton, or from Holden to Stoughton. I was just like, cash money. Like I'm working on a documentary right now, a major production company, which I'm not going to say who.
Good.
I've signed an exclusivity deal with them a couple months ago, and we're filming and we're doing this. And I'm just like, the whole time down, I'm like, I can't wait to tell them. This is gonna be like, this story just got so much better. Oh my God. Thank you for making me a big part of the story. I'm gonna write these people the biggest thank you card after this is all over.
It's funny though, because like, I knew about this, and just like you were saying, like it's been in the back of my head, and I have friends that live in Mansfield, and we go over and kick it around on a Sunday, the football game, and like we'll kick around things that that go around, and I always kept saying like, I always remembered that case about the cop that supposedly got hit and killed, and we would always talk about it. And then a couple of weeks ago, when I came back around, I started really diving into it. And then it got me down the wormhole, and I went, holy shit, like Turtleboy's covering this. I'm like, I know who Turtleboy is. Like I've known about him for years, and I know like you've been on with Jerry Callahan in the past, and I'm like, holy shit, like I know who this is. And then I stumbled upon your YouTube page, and I watched your little 30-minute documentary, and we started reading like the PCA and comparing, like, dude, something doesn't seem right here. It's very strange and it's weird. And and that's what kind of turned me on, and I was like, I got to get him on the show and have him talk about this, so
happy to.
Yeah. So let me ask you, so everything that you've gone through, they tried to arrest you, lock you up last week.
They did. Yeah.
And I like I said, I admire that, you keep fighting for free speech. What lengths are you going to go to, man? Like,
I'll die for this. And I'm not,
Wow.
I'm not kidding. Like, it's like, I'm not scared of jail. I'm not scared of dying. I don't give a shit. Cause I'm not going to live life like that. Like, people will say, well, you have kids, you have kids. Like, yeah, so did Martin Luther King. So did John Adams. So did like great people in history. Don't become great because they go home and they, avoid controversy. It's just like, I refuse to accept the fact that I live in a world where people can get murdered and have their bodies thrown on a lawn, and then an innocent person goes to jail for that because a corrupt institution frames them. I refuse to. I'd rather die than live in a world like that.
Yeah. Real quick, Patrick's asking, Sergeant Bukaki was there to arrest you. Why?
Yeah, so Bukaki was there, Tully was there, and Lieutenant Fanning was there. 3 people who I have been incredibly critical of in my reporting. Of all the people they could have sent, they sent those guys. And none of them live around here. I'm out in Central Mass. Like they've probably never even been out here. And they couldn't wait to get down there. They wanted me to see their face. It was either like the fugitive unit guy was the guy. He was the one that put me in cuffs, and Tully is the one that read my rights to me. And he's like reading my rights. I'm like, dude, I already fucking know him. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I know. I get the right to remain silent. He's like, you're gonna stop? Yeah, I have to read. I'm like, yeah, shut the fuck up, dude. Just read, get it over with. We're standing in the street. Like a lot of people in that situation would like cry. I'm like, I was kind of expecting it. Like, I didn't think it would be as crazy as the way they did it,
Right.
you know, but I'm always gonna remember these fucks. So that's what they are, these punks, these little punk bitches with badges and guns. You motherfuckers don't scare me. You don't scare me in the least. You thought you'd come over to my house and break me? Fuck you. That's what I think of you, Massachusetts State Police. Fuck you. I'm gonna have the last laugh, and then I'm gonna find out who all you are. And then the real fun is going to start. So you just made me so motivated. You made me want, like, I cannot wait to not only defend myself, but then sue you motherfuckers into oblivion. And your kids are going to go to public fucking school. Just understand that. You take them out of Catholic school now, enroll them in the public, because your ass is going to be owned by me. Just know that. Sorry, I'm fired up.
It's all right. So let me ask you though. I mean, you go in hard. You're going in hard against law enforcement. Do you support law enforcement, or has your mind kind of changed about it?
My mind has changed because of it. I mean, but I have friends obviously that like a lot. I will give anyone the benefit of the doubt. Like human beings, I think we should all judge, because cops are human beings, and I think we should judge human beings based on our own interactions with them. If your interaction with the cop is positive and you like, then that's good. Then you trust that one particular cop. But I refuse. I am no longer living with the mentality that because you are wearing a uniform and a badge and a gun, I automatically trust you. I used to feel that way. I no longer do. Like, I think it's like I view them now as human beings who are flawed, and I'm sure most are great people, and I'll trust them, but I'm no longer going to just immediately trust you because you're a cop. I think that's what's changed me.
Has that changed you because of you know, what you've gone through or what you've discovered in this case?
Both.
A little both. Yeah.
Both, but definitely more what I've discovered in this case, because not like the fact that these guys can, if any other line of work was like this, like I was a teacher. If one of another teacher was like accused of being like inappropriate with kids, all of the other teachers would socially ostracize them. You'd be like, oh, fuck that guy. I don't want anything to do with that motherfucker. He's creepy as shit. But cops, like I've yet to, I mean, a lot of people tell me privately, but no one will publicly in the state police call out Michael Proctor. And that's the cultural problem that exists there, is that these people, like, you should be ashamed of that guy. You should be ashamed to wear the same uniform as that guy. He disgraces you. People don't trust you because of him. He's doing this, and fuck that guy. Like, that's the way you should look at him.
How's Karen Reed and her family feel about you supporting?
I mean, I think they're happy about it.
Yeah.
I have a great relationship with the Reed parents and Nathan Reed as well. And we've become friends over this because, you know, I'm fighting for their daughter. They've been fighting for much longer. And why wouldn't you like me if you were them, quite frankly?
Right. Yeah, of course. So I want to get into kind of some of the case findings, because this is kind of the three things that have always popped out to me. And I'd love you to just kind of talk a little about them. Let me throw three of them at you, and then we can kind of bust into them one by one. 62 feet at 24 miles an hour. John O'Keefe's injury, especially to his arm, and no lower body injuries. And then the Haas Long to die in cold. Can you talk a little bit about that, how you kind of broke down that process, and kind of in your investigating and peeling the layers of the onion back, how you came to those conclusions that it just doesn't add up?
Yeah, so the 62 feet thing, for the longest time, for like the last 18 months, the theory has always been that Karen Reed killed him with a 3-point turn. A turtle rider named Justin did a computer simulation of it. It's part 73 in our series, showing, which I hadn't thought of before, that if it was a 3-point turn, then it would be the left taillight that was broken. And I think then they realized, shit, that's not going to work. So, and you can't accelerate that much doing a 3-point turn because there's not enough room. So they're like, okay, let's just say 62. Like, we'll say 62 feet that she went 24 miles an hour in reverse. And so in order to I went down to Fairview Road, and I'm like, so John was found here
Right.
So that
Yeah, I
means it
saw the
must have
video,
started
yeah,
up
yeah,
here. And it's like in front of the neighbor's house. And so we are to believe that John got out of the car in the corner, not the driveway, the corner for some reason, and just stood there. Well, his crazy psycho bitch girlfriend drove up 62 feet and he just stood. He's like, "You gonna hit me or not?" And then
Right.
she cranked it going 24 miles an hour in reverse in the snow. And he just stood there and took it and somehow had dog bites out of it on his arm. No broken bones, no injuries. There's no dents on the car. He weighs 217 pounds. He gets thrown in the air 12 feet. And they want us to believe, and not a single person in the house saw it. None of the 2 ring cameras across the street caught it happening. None of it. And they want us to believe. And by the way, Ryan Nagel, the guy, they tell us this happens at 12:25 while Ryan Nagel was there. And somehow him and the 2 other people in the truck completely missed this.
Right.
It's
Don't
just,
see anything.
you have to be functionally okay, short bus if you believe this. Like, you're just stupid. You shouldn't be allowed to vote. You shouldn't be allowed to brush your own teeth. You are a disgraceful, stupid human being, and you should bow your head in shame for being that dumb.
Yeah, I went out there a couple of weeks and I live streamed from there just so my audience can see, the neighborhood where the house was in correlation to like where all the cameras would be. And I was surprised, like looking at where I don't know what the address is across the street, but literally that camera that's dead center above the door on the house there, it would literally capture everything that was supposed to go on that night.
Everything.
So what's going on with that video? Is there
So
any
that,
video of
so
it?
you know who lives in that house, right? 31 Fairview. That home
I don't know.
is owned by Tom Kelleher, the
Okay.
deputy police chief of Canton.
Okay.
And according to Michael Proctor, he asked him for video of his ring camera, and Kelleher told him, "Nah, it didn't catch anything." But of course, that's what Proctor said. I bet you that conversation never occurred. And Kelleher graduated the same year from high school as Nicole Albert, his neighbor, and knew Brian Albert for a long time. He ain't gonna rat on him. He's not gonna do something to send him to jail. And what Proctor should have done if he was a real cop would said, "You're gonna give me that tape. We need to see that tape. It's not up to you to tell us that nothing is on that tape. I need to see that tape and enter it into evidence." But of course, he didn't do that because he knows what he would find on that tape. Again, with this, the cover up in this story isn't necessarily what they did do, it's what they didn't do. It's what they never interviewed the plow driver. They never asked for ring camera video, right? They never interviewed the people that were inside the house. They didn't do anything. They just were like, Kara Reed did it, and that's it.
Tell us about the plow driver, what you found out about it. Because I know that you actually talked to him, correct?
Yeah. And so I became aware of that the road was plowed that day. And Michael Proctor had a police report from back in January of 2022. And the police report said that the town of Canton does not plow Fairview Road, that a subcontractor does it. And so that no Canton DPW employees had plowed Fairview Road that day. Well, rumors started spreading, and I was told that a man by the name of Brian Lucky Laughran was in charge of plowing that road, and that he worked for the town of Canton. And I tried reaching to him a couple months ago. He didn't get back to me on Facebook. Then I got his phone number, so I gave him a call, and I'm like, "This is worth a shot." I call him up, and he's willing to talk to me. I'm like, "Hey, Lucky, yeah, this is Aidan Kearney from Turtleboy News." Hello, okay. And then I'm like, "So, did you plow Fairview Road that night?" And he's like, "Yep." He was just willing to talk. He's like, "Yeah." He said he told me that he plowed Fairview Road at 2:30, and I said, "Was there a body on the lawn when you went by?" "No." I said, "Would you have seen a body if a body was there?" He is like, "Absolutely, because I sit up high and I had bright lights on and I was going slowly and I looked from side to side." Okay. So, and he goes, "The FBI came and tracked me down and told me that there was GPS data in my truck that put me there." And so I was talking, they asked me and I told them the same thing. I said, "The FBI talked to you?"
Wow.
"Ooh, that's interesting. Didn't know that." And then I said, "Did you do it again?" He's like, "I came back at around 3 a.m. and I couldn't do it because there was a Ford Edge parked directly where John's body would be discovered 3 hours later at 6. So just to review, 2:30. So Karen Reed allegedly hits him at 12:30 or around there, right?
Yep.
So his body should be there at 2:30, except there's no body at 2:30. And then a Ford Edge appears, and then there is a body. So that Ford Edge is either involved in the murder or knows information about who did what. Whoever was driving that Ford Edge should be tracked down immediately.
You know what? It's funny. I was just reading through one of the Commonwealth's PCAs the other day. It was like 10 of them because they've had to redo it like 40 million times because their theory of how Karen actually supposedly killed John has changed like 40 million times. But it's funny. I was looking at one and it said that when John was found, I want to say it was like fresh blood or blood dripping from his mouth. Now, how could that be? If someone's out in the cold, supposedly for 6 hours, how would they have dripping blood from their mouth or fresh blood from their mouth? And I have to go back and reread that. But I was reading something about blood in his mouth. I'm like, that would make no sense. If there was blood from his mouth and he was out there for so long, then it would be dry. It wouldn't be dripping. Something that I'll be taking up in a future stream. I have something big planned, a big stream that I have planned. I'm sorting through all the information, and I should be having that probably sometime this week. It's just taken me a little while to get together. Okay.
Immediately. That's what real police would do. So I published this interview, and Michael Proctor and Bukaki see the acronym FBI and probably are shitting their pants. They're like, fuck, they found this guy. We tried to avoid talking to him for so long, but they found him. And they go down and interview him. And I've published the entire interview. And he tells them the same exact story. No body, and then Ford Edge, and then a body. So you would think at that point they would be like, okay, a cop was killed here. One of our brothers in blue, back the blue. Let's go and find out who that car was. We need that all points bulletin. That's a cop killer, right?
Right.
And as it turns out, at least 4 members of the Albert family drive a Ford Edge. Colin Albert, Kevin Albert, Brian Albert, and Tristan Morris, the probably future husband of Caitlin Albert. And so they do nothing. In the last 2 months since finding out this information, Proctor and Bukaki, the only thing they've done is try to come after me. They've been building this. They've been watching hundreds of hours of my YouTube show and taking out of context quotes, and all for the purposes of drumming up some bullshit, bogus witness intimidation charge. And by the way, I saw the application for the warrant today. They put down in their application that I'm a flight risk. I got 2 kids and you know what I mean? And a house and a goddamn YouTube show every Tuesday and Saturday, and I'm a flight risk. And so
I don't know if anybody saw my post from earlier today, but I was talking on Facebook about the recent attack in New York City of the 2 officers that were beaten by migrants, and essentially 2 of them were arrested. I think they've now got all 4 of them. They were arrested and released on their own recognizance. I mean, he beat police officers and they were allowed to leave. And as they left, they flipped off all of the cameras that were out there and they were laughing. They were laughing the entire time. Now, here's someone that is expressing free speech and they lock him up for his speech. So how can you justify that? How do you justify that? You have 2, and the video is horrific. A mob attacks them. A mob of these peaceful, fun-loving asylum seekers, these migrants in New York City. They beat police officers, kick them in the head, punch them in the face as they're trying to restrain someone that had gotten out of hand. And they mob mash them. They push these cops down. They beat them and kick them. And here's the funny thing, too. They showed videos of them walking into court to face the judge. Not one of them had any handcuffs on, any leg shackles. And here's Turtleboy that is locked up in jail and has to go to court in shackles and handcuffs, all for free speech, for free speech. So that's how this country works, people. This is how this country works. You can be illegally here because you're an asylum seeker, beat a police officer, and you're allowed to walk out on your own. Own recognizance. Just walk out. That's it. Got to let them go. We have a major issue in this country, an extremely major issue going on in this country. I don't think you're going to go anywhere.
So they use that to arrest me instead of a summons, which is the appropriate course of action for a nonviolent person who's charged with a bullshit witness intimidation charge, which, by the way, is all based off of YouTube comments. They came with a search warrant for my house, my car, and all of my electronic devices. So they took it all. They ransacked my house for hours. They read everything in here.
Did you see what they just
all
did
of
in
this
Boston? Did you see what they just did in Boston? They kicked out everybody out of a rec center to get people out of Logan Airport, the migrants out of Logan Airport, relocated them to a rec center where the homeless was able to go in and get shelter from the cold and participate in activities. They had some youth sports there. I forget where the youth center was or this rec center was. They kicked everybody out and they're housing like 400 migrants in there right now. And Wu says, oh, well, this is only going to last until like May. Unbelievable. And they say, oh, the lead in is, oh, this controversial issue that's going on at the rec center. No, that's wrong. I mean, it's wrong. People are pissed off. I don't think that it's controversial. I think people had their stance on this and they're pissed off. They're being kicked out and they're not allowed to go there because we have to house the illegals that have come in because they were sleeping on the floors at Logan. They had to get them out of there because it's a bad look. You know, we don't want that to happen when people fly into Logan. So let's kick people out of their rec center. And they're not allowed to use it because we have to house all these fun-loving asylum seekers.
They just made up some bullshit as an excuse to get into my house and into my devices to find out what I know about them. These motherfuckers are so afraid of what I can do to them with the power of the pen, not with physically. I know you state police out there. You're probably going to clip that. Oh, there's a threat. No, you cocksuckers. I'm not a physical threat to you. I am a threat to your job. I am a threat to your freedom because with the power of the pen, I expose you and I expose your corruption. And so bruises heal. You get punched in the face, you'll be okay. You ain't gonna do shit 20 to life. And that's why I'm much more dangerous than any thug out there who would punch somebody in the face.
Well, they always say that the pen is mightier than the sword. You know, they always say that.
Correct.
Let's talk about the injuries, especially on the arm, because I know there's been a lot of controversy about that. Talk to us about the German Shepherd, and then talk to us about in the PCA how they state that John got the injuries on his arm.
Yeah. So they found his body, and the autopsy photos are kind of the first thing that struck the defense as odd, because it looked like he had been beat up by Mike Tyson. David, he described it. He had two swollen, huge black eyes, a laceration in the back of the head, a couple cuts on the nose and stuff like that. All the injuries are to the face, except for the dog scratches, right? But he has chest, neck, pelvis, no broken bones, no bruises, which is weird because he allegedly got hit by a car, a tank, really, a 6,000-pound vehicle going 24 miles an hour in reverse.
I got a question, and maybe you can clarify this. Are they saying that she hit him and by the power of the car, it made him, I guess, fly 12 feet in the air, or did she, or was it that she ran him over?
They haven't said anything. The thing that they don't even have a theory. They just make shit up as they go along. 2 months ago, it was a 3-point turn. Right. Now it's 24 miles an hour in reverse. They had to say it was a 3-point turn. They had to say it was 24 miles an hour in reverse because she didn't go in that direction. And so they want us to forget that they said that for 18 months and charged her based on that.
Because that's always been very confusing to like me and my audience when we've gone through all of this, is that we could never really figure out, like, are they saying that he got ran over? I mean, we came to the conclusion that, like you said, 62 feet, 24 miles an hour with what, probably 2 to 5 inches of snow on the ground. And a lot of things, and I don't think people, understand this either. And I've been down there. That road is on a slight grade. It actually goes up like 20 or 30 degrees, and it's on a curve.
Yeah, the curve gets you. I hit the curb
Yeah,
when I did the recreation. I'm like, shit. So like Karen Reed's some sort of master race car driver in reverse. Like, dude, when I got 19, I felt like a psychopath. I'm like, holy fuck, that's scary. For a human being to, if she actually did this, which clearly she did not, you would have to be the most skilled driver ever in the fucking snow, drunk, and a psychopath to boot, because just like to have that in you to reach that speed and intentionally hit somebody, you are the craziest fucking person alive if you did that.
I'd love to see, and I've tried to track it down, and I know, some of my mods on my channel we've tried to find is we want to see a recreation, and I know that they're going to probably do it at trial. I want to see a recreation with like a crash test dummy or something like that, to show what would happen when someone actually.
I'm gonna tell you, you would bounce off that car.
Said speed.
It's funny.
Distance.
Well, there was
I had
guy-
this discussion with a friend of mine the other night. We were sitting there. We were talking about what would physically happen to you if you were hit, the 24 miles an hour. I literally said you would bounce off, and literally you would probably bounce off. You would fall back 5 or 6 feet. You probably would get some scuffs on your arms or your legs, but there's no way that you physically would die from being hit like that. And I've proven it before. If you stand in the back of that SUV at the height of a man at 6 feet tall, it's going to hit soft target. It's going to hit your chest. It would hit your side. It would hit your back. There's no fucking way possible that rear taillight would line up with anybody's fucking head. There's no way. You would have to smash that taillight with a fucking hammer, because that's probably what happened. And then they sprinkled around the magic taillight fairy dust everywhere. So I just don't see it. And that's why, I did the stream before when I showed all the pictures, all the photos of the rear of that SUV, of that Lexus. And it just physically cannot fucking happen. I mean, I debated this with a friend, and I said, what would happen? What would happen? What do you think would seriously happen? Is there any way that this taillight could physically break? And all that we could come up with is the soft target. I call this soft target area here: the chest, the arm, the side, maybe the back. It's just fucking no way it could happen. Cannot happen.
Guy who tried to do it, his name's Kevin, and he made a fool of himself. So it's funny when you try to actually, when somebody actually tries to recreate this. The dude made like a Sim City thing, and according to his recreation, John dropped his cocktail glass in the road and then bent over and just remained in that position. And Karen Reed's like, oh, now's the perfect opportunity, and she goes in reverse and then hits him while he's bending over, picking up his cocktail glass. But then the arms things was he had it like the arm scraped the side of the Lexus, which comes with razor blades. Apparently, the LX 570 comes with razor blades on the side and barbed wire, and that caused him to get those scratches on there. So when you attempt to come up with a theory about how this actually happened, you look like an idiot. And so that's why I encourage these people. Okay, tell me how John O'Keefe was killed. Just tell me how this happened. Explain it to me. You can't. None of them can, because they realize they're going to look stupid.
Talk to me about your theory and with the dog, and that's how you say that he got the bites or scratches on his arms.
So let's start by saying that this is a theory. It's not my job to prove what happened. It's not Alan Jackson's job. Yep. It's the police's job, and they could figure this out because they have more resources to do this. They have luminol. They have the ability to interview people. I don't. So I believe what happened was that John went into that house at 12, 20 or 21. And she was dropped off in the driveway and ran into the door because it's freezing. Karen pulls up. Ryan Nagel is right behind her. She waits 10 minutes for him to call her back and text her back like it's cool. She gets frustrated when he doesn't, and he leaves. What I believe was happening inside the house was that he ascended and descended 3 flights of stairs. So he must have gone I don't know, into the basement or wherever upstairs. I don't know what he's looking around. But at some point, Colin Albert was there, his former neighbor who he had beef with. And
Mhm.
Colin Albert's a dick. And he makes videos. He thinks he's lippy. He fights a lot of people. He's
Bang
probably,
Bang guy, right?
bang, bang. Yeah, bang,
Yeah.
bang.
Yeah.
And I think that John is a, you know, a drunken Irishman at the time too. I mean, John been drinking a lot that day.
Yeah.
He's an Irishman. He ain't going to take some young punk shit who gives, you know what I mean? And
Sure.
so the two of them had an argument and a fight broke out. And I believe that probably John O'Keefe was winning that fight because he outweighs Colin by, you know, a lot of pounds and is taller than him and is older than him.
Sure.
And so I believe that he was winning that fight, and that's unacceptable in the Albert. An Albert nephew is not going to get
I'd
beat.
like to know if his theory has changed because this is back in October and we've gotten, you know, a bunch of new information now. That's one of the curious questions I'd like to ask him. Has your theory changed? Do you still in your mind think it's Colin Albert? And I've heard other theories out there that people have. They think that it's Brian Albert. So I'd be curious to see if his theory has changed at all. It's just it's interesting.
Heating up inside.
That's
an
why I
Albert
like
home.
going back and look at this stuff. I mean, this is back in October of 23. You know, it's unfortunately the only interview I've had with him. We went to go do the other one. I had COVID really bad. I couldn't do it. And then that shit happened with the arrest. So, you know, that's some things that I'd like to ask him. You know, has his theory changed now with all this new information that has come out and everything that we know now? All right, let's keep playing through.
And I believe that Brian Albert helped his nephew out. And I believe the dog, the German Shepherd, the man-eating German Shepherd, who has sent two other people to the emergency room, according to animal control records, that man-eating dog jumped up at him. And I posted a video of this today of an incident that happened in Jacksonville. A woman was attacked by a German Shepherd.
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
the immediate reaction, if a dog lunges at you like that, is to do this. It is everyone's instinct reaction. And the dogs will scratch your arm if that happens. It looks exactly like that would happen. It's and I believe that he was torn to the ground by the dog. And at that point, somebody hit him in the back of the head. And I believe that person, if I had to guess who that person was, I would guess it would be Colin Albert, because I don't think Brian Albert's stupid enough to do that. Yeah, look at that. I mean, it's immediate. That's where it just jumps up and it goes right for your arm. And your instinct is to do this, to shield your body from it. It is exact. And when you look at her injuries, it is exactly like that. So, and
look at that.
Does those look familiar, guys?
Yeah, really.
That's what dogs.
He knows before.
You know, not bites, scratches, because they got sharp claws, those German Shepherds. And I believe that when they had him on the ground, that Colin did something stupid and hit him in the back of the head. And I think that John began convulsing and puking on himself. I think they laid him against the wall, and then he's just like, if you've ever seen a body convulse like that, it's not pretty. When the shit just comes out of you, the puke comes out of you, because he's got puke on his boxers. How did the puke get on his boxers if he was outside, got hit by a car? He must have been sitting up and puke came down on him. And at that point, they're like, this motherfucker's going to die or be a vegetable at worst. And so we need.
Yeah, if everybody's coming in, this was the interview that I had with Aidan back in October of 2023. And what I wanted to do was go back and just look and see how so much has changed. I mean, it's been 5 months. And I wanted to see how he's been kind of talking then, how, you know, I was still relatively very new to the case. I started just streaming about it in early September. So all of this was still very new to me, and I was still sorting through all the details. And obviously now I'm 5 months into it. So, you know, I have a lot more information. I understand the case a lot more. But, you know, there's a lot of things that I want to ask him. Has his stance changed? Has his theory changed? You know, it's all good questions. I know a lot of people's theories out there have changed. You know, does he still think Colin Albert was the one that started the fight, or was it Brian Albert? I've heard many different theories about what went on in the house. Everybody's theory. So it's interesting. It's interesting, and I love going back and look at all these old footage.
The story is simple. He never came in the house. It's a simple fucking story. He never came in the house. There's nothing to get straight.
Well, I started
there.
at 9:15.
We didn't even see. We invited him over. He didn't come. I guess not. And then they're like, where was she last seen? We saw her in the corner. We'll just dump it there. And then we'll break a fucking cocktail glass and make it look because the original plan was going to be Karen got out of the car and smashed him over the head with a cocktail glass. I think that's why the broken cocktail glass was there. And then by a fate of, a stroke of luck, Karen backs into John's Chevy Traverse while backing out of the driveway at 5 o'clock and breaks her taillight. Change of plan at that point. When they see the broken taillight, they're like, oh, we call Proctor. He's the taillight fairy. And Karen they had to get her car because her car is in Dighton at this point.
I think my first impression is this. I think I didn't know him. He didn't know me. I was just trying to let him talk. And I've always said this on my channel, that the best interviews you get is you let the person that's being interviewed just talk, sit back. That's why I always think, why is Joe Rogan so successful? Because if you listen to his podcast, the people that he has on, he lets them talk about 80% of the time. And I wanted to hear from him. I wanted to know what his perspective was on this. I want to know how he got involved in this. I wanted to know what he was thinking in these particular moments. So it was really just getting to know him, getting to know kind of his cadence in interviews. Always the first one is a little weird. I hadn't never talked to him before that, only through email. So I was getting, him live for the first time, feeling out how an interview goes. It's all a process and it's a skill, and I'm sure he's feeling me out. How is he going to interview me? What kind of questions is he going to ask me? It was just like the other night, I did a live with Melanie Little. She's been on my channel twice. I went over first on hers. I've never streamed with her before. So it's a different thing. I'm not the leader. She's leading. So I have to sit back, wait, see what her style is going to be, what her cadence is going to be. But now I'll be better prepared next time, if I ever have the opportunity to go back over there, because you start to get familiar with someone, their cadence, how they start to stream, how their conversations probably are going to be. So it takes it's like two friends hanging out, but I've never talked to him before. And we're having, I wouldn't say like an intimate conversation because you're all watching, but it's kind of like the first time we sit down and talk, maybe on the phone or something like that. It is a little weird. You're kind of feeling everybody out. So, but it was cool. It was really cool. It was an honor to have him over here. Who am I? Just this guy reaching out saying, hey, would you come in and talk about the Kearney case? And I thought it was cool. It was really cool that he did it. And we went to go do it the second time. I got COVID really bad. And then he's in the shit that he's in now. And I've had the great opportunity to go over and guest host on his channel. Oh, by the way, I will be doing something on his channel on Sunday night. So stay tuned for that. We're going to plan probably for 8 o'clock on Sunday. So I'll be over there again. And, I've had the opportunity to go over and guest host. So that's cool. All right, we'll keep playing through here.
Parents' house.
Right.
And so Proctor gets to Dighton at 2:30, calls to have the car towed, has it out of there by 4:15. Except in his report, he says that he got there at 4:30 and had the car towed by 5:30. If he towed the car at 5:30, he would be unable to get the car back to Canton for 5:45 when the state police did the search. But if he got the car at 4:15, that would give him ample amount of time to make the 40-minute drive to Canton, do a little smash, and then sprinkle 4 pieces of red taillight at the scene in time for the state police search at the unsecured crime scene, right? And so I'm not even convinced Proctor was the one who put those there. I think that Lieutenant Brian Tully put those there.
Interesting.
I mean, the guy that came in, because that motherfucker is dirty. That when he came to my house, he looks like a human penis. Yeah, you do, Tully. And oh god, I hate that motherfucker. I think that he is the one that did it because there is more evidence that he was at the scene at that point than Proctor. So I believe he's the one who planted those taillights. Because it's also important to point out that at 6 a.m. that because Proctor couldn't have done this on his own. Like, let's be real. He could not have. He needed help from other police. At 6 a.m., the Canton police search the scene. They find the broken cocktail glass.
Well, that's why you have guests on, Jamie. Who wants to fucking hear from me if I have a guest on? I want to hear what they have to say.
and what their expertise is, and you know, you just let them talk. That's why you brought them on. It's your show, you talk all the time, but when you have a guest on, you let them talk. You sit back, you let them lead. So you know, that's why I wanted to have them on. And I really, really enjoy interviewing people. I absolutely love it. It's a delicate dance. You feel people out, and you're either gonna have chemistry or you're not gonna have chemistry. You know, I've had some interviews where they've gone a little south, a little sour. But then, you know, there's times when you start an interview and it doesn't really jive, but at some point you hit it and you hit that stride and it turns into something really good. What was the one that I was struggling with that I felt like I was struggling? Believe it or not, I felt like I was struggling a little bit with when I had Melanie Little on. I just wasn't hitting it. And then somewhere in a conversation, it took off and it turned into like a really great interview. And it's not that what am I trying to say? It's not anything against her. It was just I didn't feel like we were hitting it, and then all of a sudden, like you just hit something in the interview, and it turned into this like really fantastic interview. And like I said, that's when you start talking to people for the first time. You don't know their cadence, you don't know how they talk or whatever, and you have to kind of hit that point, and then you get kind of that chemistry going. So it is an interview is like chemistry, especially when you're performing in front of a live audience. It really is.
And 6
And
droplets
interviews
of
can
blood.
go flat.
Nothing else. Then 12 hours later, after 18 inches of snow has fallen, they find a shoe
I love Melanie. She's awesome.
and 4 big
love
red
her.
pieces of taillight. How did the Canton police miss that? It makes no sense. There's no explanation for how they could possibly miss that unless they're blind, incompetent, and dumb. And of course, they don't go in the house. They don't search the house. I'll tell you one thing, man. If you don't want the police to come in your house, just throw a dead cop on the lawn. It's like kryptonite to the police. They won't come in your house. But if you say the wrong thing on YouTube, they're gonna come with the freaking fugitive squad and they're gonna go all through your shit. It's not pretty.
So I've heard some people debate like about this that, you know, people that think that Karen did this. So Karen hits John, she goes home, you know, in this frantic, pulls in, and then, you know, lines her car up just to magically hit the, you know, the back of his car. And that, you know, that's to hide the broken tail light because she broke it down in Canton, but line this up, you know, she went in the house and said, oh shit, you know, I realized that, you know, she did hit him. She, you know, because we get the video of her backing out, she perfectly lines it up, you know, bumps his car. You can clearly see she does hit his fucking car. I mean, that's definitely how,
Undeniable.
you know, right. And, you know, I've heard some people about that, you know, she lined this all up knowing that, you know, she did hit him and caused.
So let me get
What
this
do you
straight.
think about that?
They believe that these people believe that that her taillight was
Right.
already broken.
Right.
And then she made it look like she hit his
Right,
car. Right. And I would just like to point out that the people saying that have the balls to call you a conspiracy theorist. Like that is the funniest part about it. The people calling you a conspiracy theorist have to believe the most crazy, asinine shit possible. It's the definition of gaslighting. That's what it is. We're not the conspiracy theorists. If you believe that the injuries on John's body came from Alexis, you're the conspiracy theorist, sir.
Yeah. I mean, I've even seen accidents where people have been rear-ended before with such force at like 40, you know, 50 miles an hour and taillights don't break. They're pretty fucking strong. Like they're pretty strong.
Yeah, he weighed
like, they have to be a
217
pretty
a
direct hit.
And 200. I mean, if you hit it, if you look at it when she's pulling out of Meadows Ave, it's hardly broken.
Thanks,
I mean, there's
Jody. I
definitely a
appreciate
piece
it.
missing.
Thank you
One
for being
piece
here.
missing, right?
Thanks.
But the rest is illuminated. Now,
Yeah, and that's the thing is you can see the stripe. Like that's the thing that got me. And like we went over the video a bunch of times when she backs out and pulls out, you can see the driver's side one is fully illuminated, but that passenger side is, you can even see like where the it's not illuminated and that stripe is out. So you can tell like that whole light went out. It was out at that point.
let me just say this. The state police have my phone, right? And I have information on my phone that I have not made public to the world yet, right? Particularly regarding taillight.
Interesting.
And I can prove beyond any doubt that they planted taillight. I have undeniable evidence of it that I have not yet published.
Interesting.
They have my phone. They have now seen this. And I hope they're shitting their pants, Tully. I hope you saw that.
I'm literally getting ready to pay like $1,500 to get an actual Lexus taillight from that model Karen owns, and I'm gonna try to experiment and see how much force it takes to actually break that taillight. I know that under a demonstration, it is going to be impossible when if this goes to trial and they try to recreate this, to put a crash test dummy there, or however the hell they're going to do this. I think the only way that this could really be truly simulated, simulated is this. And I've seen this done before on Mythbusters. They took an actual human skeleton. I don't think it was real. It could have been a plastic one, but it looked pretty damn real. And what they used to do would they would mold gelatin around it, because that would give the consistency of human skin and bones and musculature, right? And they used to do these experiments with like shooting experiments. Can you shoot a bullet around a corner and hit someone in the head or the face? I think the only way that you would have to truly do this is to get a skeleton, put it inside that gelatin, and you would have to set that dummy or skeleton up in human form, fully like a gummy bear. It would look like a gummy bear, would have a skeleton in it. And you would have to back up that Lexus at whatever, 24 miles an hour, 62 feet, and hit that skeleton and make it perfectly hit that taillight. I'm going to tell you right now, it would never in any day of light crack that taillight. The gummy bear would literally bounce off, and it would probably fall back. It would probably have some abrasions or whatever. I guarantee if it was just hit, person would probably have a pretty bad concussion. They would get up, have to go to the hospital, probably released in a couple of days. They would not have the injuries that John sustained. They would not have the injuries that John sustained. Trust me. I'm telling you. And the taillight would never even break. I'm telling you, it would never break.
And you're like, this motherfucker hasn't even released the really damn because I'm coming for you. It's coming out. I spaced this shit out on purpose, motherfucker. Oh, the 911 call that I don't know anything about. Oh, I think that's coming too. So stay tuned.
So do you have your devices back, or they still have them in custody?
They still have them, but you can just get it back. I went down to Verizon, Mike.
You get your cloud. You
got the cloud. So I got all the shit. I got all the videos. I got everything back. Except I can't get my Facebook. That's the Clarence Woods Emerson account, which is like 40,000 followers and is valuable for that reason. I can't get into it.
It's I bet you were probably having a moment like, holy fuck, like I'm not gonna be able to get any of my shit back. Like, were you shitting at first when like you finally?
Nah, because the law's on my side, and I got an army behind me that is willing to donate, and when that's important because you got good lawyers when you do that. I just got a lawyer today. I officially have a lawyer, and he's fucking
absolutely.
great. I interviewed so many lawyers about this, and I wanted a lawyer that more than anything is emotionally invested in this case already. Somebody who I don't have to explain this story to. Somebody who is following it and is passionate as I am about it and wants it, isn't afraid to mix it up. And I got that lawyer today, and I'm going to make a post about it tomorrow. He's going to be in Stoughton District Court filing motions tomorrow. And I don't know this yet, but a hearing will be coming very shortly.
So Lady Law Sanders says it can happen to any of us, chat. We have to set a precedent. Worst thing is that it's not the first time in Boston is a great cover up, and it's not
it's not Boston in this case. It's Canton, and it's state police. The dead guy is Boston cop, and the man who owns a home happens to be a Boston cop. But this story, a lot of people are mixing this up. This is kind of the Boston police aren't really a part of this, but I get what you're saying.
Let me read a quote to you, and just let me read a quote by you that you just had in one of your recent blogs, and I'd love you to talk about that a little bit. And then if we can get into actually the day like you got arrested, I really want to hear about that, because I find that really fascinating in what happened. So in your recent blog, I believe it was today, you say they thought I'd break down crying after feeling handcuffs for the first time, have a panic attack in the back of the police car and look broken and shook as they dehumanized me in handcuffs and shackles like a dangerous criminal. Instead, they arrested me
and a Free Karen Reed t-shirt over a Free Karen Reed t-shirt. And I asked Brian Telly when we were alone if he had done anything to find the Ford Edge parked in John's parked where John's body was found at 3 a.m. I made it clear to him that it didn't scare me in the least, and I carried myself with confidence, and that made him realize that he could not break me no matter how hard he tried. By looking at me and talking to me, he knew that I knew that at the end of this, I would be free and he would be in handcuffs. Talk to me about that.
I mean, I just saw the look in his eyes when he's in my house. I saw I smelled weakness. Like it was such a weak move on their part. It's just like they're exercising what little power they have because they know it's going away soon. They know that, and they're going to try to shut me up and punish me with the remaining time in which they have institutional power, which is going away because of me. This is their last ditch effort to stop me. And when I didn't break, when I was completely unfazed, I was surprised. I'm like, the guy pulls up, gets out of the car. I'm like, I'm under arrest. The fuck? For what? And they're like, witness intimidation. And it's just like, oh, man, you guys think this is going to stick? That's so fucking cute. Let's go. Let's fucking go. But they got me. I mean, it was smart because I couldn't get to my phone. They know that I'm most dangerous when I have access to my phone. Not physically dangerous. Don't get any orders on me. But like, mentally, like I can bury you with my phone, because if I get access to my phone, I can make a Facebook post. And they know, and if I go on Facebook and I go, I was just arrested, I'm going to be in Stoughton. Do you know how many people would be down there? They would outnumber the other side 1,000,000 to 1. And that's why they did not want me to get access to my phone, because they wanted their people there. But Turtle Rider Nation's strong. All it takes is one. And they start talking. They post on the justice page the entire hearing. All I heard the entire time was honking outside. I'm like, there's
yeah,
my
I know.
people.
I
There's
did.
my
I heard
people.
that. Like we were playing it. We were watching it live. I jumped on. I was actually home on staycation. It came up because everybody's like, holy shit, they're all messaging me. I fucking like 9 million texts. They're like, Turtleboy's not going to be on your show tonight. I'm like, why not? He's like, you've been arrested. We have to check it out. And I'm like, what? I'm like, where's the court hearing? And I'm like, holy shit. And we played it, and literally you can hear just all the honking in the background. It was like amazing. I was like, holy shit.
It was so cool. It was so, it was so morally uplifting to hear that, because I'm looking in court and I'm seeing a bunch of douchebags. I'm seeing Carl the Cuck and all these other losers in court. And like, I'm just like, but outside, all I heard the whole time, it was like that trucker protest in Ottawa 2 years ago that got broken up, right? It was just like the whole time, honk, honk. I'm like, yeah, that's my people. Let's go.
Tell us about the day you actually got arrested. Can you go in a little bit more detail, like what happened, what you were doing that day? And
so I was dropping my kids off at the bus.
Terrible.
That's across the street. And they got on the bus, and then I walked diagonally across the street to my driveway. And sometimes,
did you sense anything like was going on? Did you see anything out of place? No,
because sometimes there's cars behind the bus. There's three cars behind the bus, well, Silverados. And and sometimes people talk to me, right? Like people will drive by my house sometimes and be like, Turtleboy, like they know, like, hey, Turtleboy, they'll talk to me. That's happened before. Right. And so a car starts pulling up, and I'm like, getting a little bit close. And then all of a sudden, some guy who looks like his name's Sully gets out of the car with the fugitive thing on, and he points to me. He's like, you're under arrest. And he just grabs my arm. I'm like, wait, am I being punked? What? I'm under arrest. Right. And then I realized within 5 seconds, I don't got my phone, because that's my first instinct is get the phone. And I couldn't get the phone. I'm like, oh, they got me. That's what they got. And then they tell me about it took me for a while for it to sink in what the fuck was happening. And then they're like, we have a warrant for the house and the car. And I'm like, what? And at the time, it hadn't really sunk in, but as time goes on, I realize what an outrage this is to take someone's, like, all it takes in this country. I mean, keep in mind, our founding fathers, you know what the Third Amendment is? A lot of people don't know the Third Amendment.
No,
it's the one where the British can't sleep in your house.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Can't sleep in your house. The Fourth Amendment protects you from illegal search and seizure, right? Like, our country was founded on the right, on the idea that, like, individuals have rights, and a tyrannical government cannot trample on them. Right. Except in extenuating circumstances. Like, it takes a lot. Well, all it took to get a warrant to invade the most sacred place an American citizen has, their home. All it took to obtain that warrant was I said some shit on YouTube they didn't like. I mean, that's ultimately what this came down to. And that should frighten the fuck out of everyone. All these idiots cheering this on are too stupid just because they don't like me. They're too stupid to realize the bigger picture here. What if it happens to you, motherfucker? You're gonna cheer that? Because I wouldn't be cheering it on if it happened to my worst enemy. Like, I will never cheer on the fucking state as they imprison people and violate them and invade their homes and take their property. I don't give a fuck how horrible you are. I will denounce that precedent every day of the week.
You want to hear something? I'll give you a quick anecdote. So the day, not funny you get arrested, but the day you get arrested, I leave, I go out and actually, I'm sorry, the next day I go to the gym and I'm driving home. And as I'm driving home, and it's funny because I was messaging some friends and calling them. I said, holy shit, they're going to have, they're going to see my conversations like through email with Turtleboy,
They
right?
read them, bro.
100%.
Yep.
So hear me out. So I go to the gym. I come home that morning. I'm driving down my street and literally there's a fucking cruiser coming right towards me. And I'm like, oh shit,
Gotcha.
they're coming for me. They're coming for me. But he ended up taking a right and going on the other street. But I was like, holy shit. Like, I wonder if they're going to ask me questions.
You know how many
something like
people
that.
are thinking about that though? Like, there's
Yeah.
a lot of people I haven't heard from that I used to talk to regularly because they're scared to talk to
Interesting.
me. Everyone's scared to talk to me now, and that's who I feel really bad for. Is all
But that's
'cause I
what
ain't
this is all
scared.
about. I mean, this is what this all about. This whole grabbing Karen's phones and fucking Aidan's phones and all this. They're just trying to scare everybody. And they want to look in and see what everybody's doing, what everybody's talking about. And you have every single right to talk about whatever you want to talk about. We've talked about this over the last couple of streams. Karen Reed can talk to whoever she wants to talk to. She can befriend anybody she wants to befriend. I mean, that is her right to do that. That's her human right to do that. It's a big fucking deal if she had 168 conversations with fucking Turtleboy. You can do that. She can talk to fucking whoever she wants. She can call fucking, I don't know, Joe Biden if she wants to fucking call Joe Biden. I wouldn't want to call fucking Joe Biden, but I'm just saying, I don't know. She can call fucking George Clooney or whoever. But that is her right to talk to whoever she wants to talk to. And especially a fucking journalist that's reporting on her story. They can have those conversations. So, again, this is all intimidation by the police department to come after both of these individuals to try to shut them down from voicing their opinions to the public and getting this case out there public. You can't shut down the internet. They're not going to be able to shut down the internet. We're going to continue to talk. You're all going to continue to talk. You're all going to continue to go out to the standouts peacefully. We're going to do this in a peaceful way, a peaceful protest. You have that right. You have that right to do that. And, I know this is all by design. This is to throw him in jail because where would 90 days take him? It would take him after the trial. This is to shut him up until that trial concludes. That's what this is. And they overstepped because we found out in the SJC that it's only supposed to be 60 days and they threw 90 days at him. And that's what Bradle's fighting for right now. But this is just a opportunity to shut him down. And then the opportunity to shut Karen Reed up or try to find something that's not even there and try to get her thrown in jail. It's a bunch of bullshit. It's fake. It's a bunch of crap.
But a lot of people are, and a lot of people are just, and that's why when we sue their asses off, this is the damage they've done to my business moving forward. My business relies on confidential sources feeling comfortable coming to me, knowing they're not going to get out of it. And as it turns out, all it takes to find out all of your sources is if Brian Tully doesn't like shit that you say on YouTube, he can misrepresent your words, and then some idiot judge will sign off on a warrant, and then boom, they can just rape your house. So there we are.
Carrie, thank you for the time. So what are your formal
I
charges?
appreciate it.
I heard something like you're
Sorry.
facing like life in prison. Is that
I
true?
mean, if I live longer than 120 years, I'll be good. But I'm facing 120 years in jail. No biggie. But because I'll never go to. I ain't doing a night in jail. Fuck them. I'll never go to jail. And not only am I not going to jail, I'm going to be filthy rich at the end of this. So I'm going to write them a big fucking card. Like I'm talking about, like the notoriety that I got from this is, you know how much people would pay for this? Like this sort of publicity. Like I go out in the courthouse steps. I get to give a fucking stump speech, and I'm greeted by my people out there, and everyone knows I'm innocent, and everyone knows this is bullshit, and everyone knows I'm gonna beat this, and it's gonna be fucking dope, man. Like you guys just made me a freaking hero. Do you understand what you've done? You understand the marketing opportunities that I'm gonna get as a result of this? I didn't do this. You did this. So I just want to thank you. Like you just made the whole ride down. All I was thinking is like, I can't wait to talk to the documentary guys. This is going to be fucking dope.
Let's back up a little bit because I had some questions about John's cell phone info, the cast information. Now, what's been surrounding around that? Because they said that Karen's defense team is saying that there's indications that he did go up like 3 levels, or he made a certain amount of steps, but then is it something like that information got lost or erased or something like that? Can you clear that up for me? Because I'm kind of confused about that.
Yeah, so there's really nothing, I get you're confused because they're lying. Like it's really actually really simple. The Apple Health data shows that John was ascending and descending stairs between 12:21 and 12:24. And Karen Reed doesn't have stairs in her car. So that means that he was inside a house, right? Because they have stairs in houses. And Karen Reed's phone, if would also show that if they were in the car together and it showed him ascending and descending stairs, it would also show her ascending and descending stairs, but it doesn't. It just shows him ascending and descending stairs. So that proves he was in the house. Now their answer to that was, they haven't even disputed the fact that it shows him ascending and descending stairs. What they're saying is that GPS data does not have him at the house at that time. The GPS data has him arriving at the house at 12:24. But GPS data is not nearly as accurate as Apple Health data, because GPS data has margins of error and it relies on satellite, whereas Apple Health data uses an internal clock, which is like when you go on a plane, right? Your Apple device will still tell you what time it is, no matter what. That's the beautiful of the Apple internal Cocoa clock. And so it is much stronger, the Apple Health data, than GPS. And so these idiots are just like, well, GPS. I mean, that's what they're hanging on to. Like I've used GPS. I used to, when I would run, I used to have this watch. It's like the Garmin.
Right.
And I knew where a mile was from my house. And because I've run this route a million times. And my Garmin watch would tell me different because it has to align with the satellite before you start running. And some days, depending on how cloudy it was or some shit, or depending on how many trees you're at, like it doesn't work as well in the woods, right? A lot of shit blocks it. So a mile would be in a different place every single time I ran. There would be a margin of error of, 0.05 miles, sometimes up to 0.1 miles. And so I guess my point here is that GPS data is not nearly as exact as Apple Health.
So what's your plan now going forward? Obviously you're working with an attorney now. Have they advised you on anything to not, obviously, clearly you're not going to stop talking?
Yeah. I mean, it's my business. I don't have the ability to.
So again, like if you're watching this is very, very fresh. I was only really started streaming about Karen's case back in early September. So you can see I didn't know as much as I know now because I've been talking about it more and I've read more about it and I've had more information given to me. So this is all really fresh. And that's why I like going back and looking this. And I'm like, wow, so much has changed. So much has changed since October.
So that's what I do. And I won't be silenced.
What will be your plan now going forward? Are you going to continue to dig into this, or do you feel like you've pretty much peeled all the, the onion layers back? Do you think there's more?
Oh, there's more. And there's shit I haven't published yet. And it will come out. And so I'll decide when, I post shit strategically. Let's post it that way. I knew about Lucky for a long time. Let's just put it that way. And I do a little bit at a time. And I don't want, I'm not going to give away our defense strategy, but let's just say there will be motions filed very shortly. And now it's Daddy's turn to fight back, right? Now we get to fight back. You wanted to fuck? It's time to fuck. Daddy's ready to fuck. Let's go. Just saying.
So I don't know. Do you want to? Could you take some questions from the
yeah, whatever they want to ask. Whatever they want to ask.
If anybody wants to ask a question, just put a Q. If you really want it to stand out, you can super chat. We'll pull up your question. We'll take some questions here. Just put a Q question. We'll pull them up and give Turtleboy some questions. By the way, man, I just want to say I really appreciate you doing this. Coming here on the channel.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I always say is when you look at these cases, and I looked at this case, I'm like, there's so many different dynamics to it. You're hearing, the prosecution, you're hearing the defense, and obviously now, I mean, you're definitely part of the story. So I had to have you on and hear what you had to say about this.
And I'm a witness in this trial now too, certainly. It's like, how are they not intimidating me as a witness?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they're trying, they're failing, but let's see. What was the question?
Free Turtleboy support you from the UK. That's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. If anybody has any questions, here we go. We got one. Tsunami says, "What did you think about the judge at his arraignment?"
Well, first of all, I'm gonna try not to crap on the judge who controls my freedom.
Right.
But I thought that it was ironic that 2 weeks earlier, that same exact judge who is known to be pro-police in general, that same exact judge denied a harassment prevention order to one of the 8, witnesses who is kind of a witness, but not really, according to him. His own words, not mine. Kind of a witness, but not really. That guy applied for an order in that same courtroom in front of that same judge 2 weeks prior and was denied on First Amendment grounds because my speech, the judge said, did not include true threats to cause bodily harm, which is a prerequisite to get an order. But now, essentially, an order, the same exact kind of order has been granted based on the same exact evidence. No true threats. So what has changed? That would be my question. And that is obviously an avenue that we will be pursuing.
I know what I wanted to ask you. Explain to us Haas long to die in cold. That was the one I wanted you to talk a little. I will never rest. I will never stop. I will never give up. It's just the way I'm wired. I have a million people that reach out to me every single day and they're like, you need to take a break. You need to step back. You need to take care of yourself. As much as I say that I'm going to do that, it probably will never happen. It's just the way that I'm wired. I sleep like 5 to maybe 6 hours a night. And then in between that, like today, I can tell you about my day. Here's my day. I went to bed last night at about 12:30. I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then I laid in bed until about 6. I got up, I had breakfast. I was at the gym by 7. I came home and sat until I had to go to work. I worked on my channel, and then I sat and relaxed a little bit, and I had to leave at 11:20 to drive to work. I went to work, worked my full-time job today until 8 o'clock. I drove home, ran up the stairs. I got into the door at about 8:35. I sat for less than 20 minutes and I hit live, and here I am. And that cycle will repeat probably tomorrow. Well, tomorrow I have plans. Tomorrow I have to get blood work done. That's important. But tomorrow I will take tomorrow off. I have plans tomorrow. But Sunday I'm guest hosting on Turtleboy's channel at 8 o'clock. And I have to work my full-time job all day on Sunday. So I'll work from 9 to 6, come home, sit for about an hour, prepare, get ready to go live and do a 2-hour show on his channel. It never stops. I will work like this until the day I die. You are not going to get anywhere in this world and have anything given to you. You have to work hard at it. And some shows will be great and some shows will suck. and you have to work through it as a professional and just keep pushing on, because every show is good for the channel, no matter how good it is or how bad it is. And I never go back and watch my shows. I never do that. This is probably the first one that I've ever gone back and watched fully forever in a long time. I just don't do it, because it's the show. You move on from it and you move forward and you learn from that experience. But no one's going to give you anything. You have to work at it. If I have to try to make this successful and make this my full-time job by the end of the year, I have to do, and I do triple time, because I do my full-time job. I take care of my mom basically full-time, and I do this essentially full-time. And then whatever I have in between that for personal time to do personal things, which is not a lot, but I work fucking hard because I want it to happen. It's not going to happen on its own. You have to put in the work. You have to put the work in. And I've always said this all along. These are like some of the things I've thought about doing too, like just motivational things on the channel, maybe more for members. But, I always go back and say this too. And I know people are probably tired of me saying this, but I use this line, you might laugh, from the guy that played the character, the Ultimate Warrior, on Jim. Last name starts with an H. He's no longer alive, but he played the Ultimate Warrior. And he used to say this, have this saying, because you were born, you have the potential. And that goes for anybody out there watching the show. Because you were born, you have the potential. You have the potential to do anything in your life. But the one thing that you'll have to do is work at it. Make it happen. Make it happen. All right, enough of my ranting. Let's play through the rest of this and try to get through this. We got about another 30 minutes. I appreciate everybody being here late on this Friday night. But we'll get through it. All right, here we go. A little bit about that too, the theory of the prosecution, and then what you found out about it.
Yeah. So basically we know that that Jennifer McCabe at 2:27 a.m. Googled how long to die in cold after she had gone home. Now that's a weird thing to Google, because if you don't think anyone's dying in the cold, or you don't plan to throw somebody's body out in the cold, why'd you Google that? And it's undeniable. So Cellbrite is the industry standard for data extraction. And when she first handed over her phone, the state police forensic expert, Nicholas Guarino, who went to Westfield State and took a 3-day course, so he's an expert now, and he did not find any of her Google searches or deleted phone calls, because he didn't know how to find those. He said he hadn't updated his software, which it wouldn't matter if the software was updated, the deleted shit would still come up. So he covered it up. He hid it. And because, as it turns out, there's some really, and it didn't smell right to the defense. So they hire an actual expert who knows what he's doing, unbiased, and he does the data extraction. And they've shown receipts. It says Cellbrite on it, not Richard Green. It says Cellbrite on it.
Right.
And the Cellbrite data extraction shows that she Googled how long to die cold at 2:27 a.m. and then deleted it. And that she deleted all her calls between 5 and 9. And that's what drew me to the story. And it's game over, right? You would assume at that point, but you forgot how corrupt these motherfuckers are. I assumed this was going to be a one and done story. I write about it. They drop the charges. We all move on with our life. Instead, they did the opposite. And when they continued to press forward and just say, "Oh, that's not legitimate, and we're not going to tell you why, and we got bombshells to come, but just stay tuned." And it was then that I realized, holy shit, what did I just get myself into? This is a million times more corrupt and bigger than I ever imagined that it could be. They are going to ride this one all the way out. There is no limit to what they won't do. They will come to my house and lock me up. That is how dedicated they are to this lie and this cover up. And I bet you they're watching this right now. They're like, why won't this motherfucker shut the fuck up? Because I'm not scared of you bitches. Because you motherfuckers don't scare me. And you'll never shut me up. You fucked with the wrong guy. Let's go.
All right. Alexa has a question. It says, where's the best place to contact you?
you can message my new Facebook page, Aidan Kearney, or you can email turtleboysports@gmail.com. Probably better to do that one.
So Jenna says, not a question, but we need a t-shirt saying "Daddy's ready to F."
Daddy's ready to fuck. Let's go.
All right. Question here: can Aidan share the $5 million that he has, according to the special prosecutor?
Yeah. That's
So
really
clear
cool.
that up, because I was like,
That was news to
holy
me when I
shit.
heard that. I'm like, whoa, how rich am I? Holy shit.
Yeah.
When and this
Soccer
they
player.
brought the JV squad to this. Like the special prosecutor, he ain't so special. Let me tell you, his name's Ken Mello. The only thing he's special about is getting reprimanded by the bar, which he was in 2016, because he did such a shitty job and poor, incompetent job defending his clients. He's never been a prosecutor before. He's buddies with Kevin Reddington, but at least Kevin Reddington is commercially successful. This motherfucker somehow became the special prosecutor in the case, and he got up there and he just read off the piece of paper like a good dog, and he's like, he said this, and then he said this, and then it's been estimated on the internets that he made $5 million off of this story. And wait, I looked at that. I'm like, what?
Right.
$5 million?
I went, what?
What this motherfuckers just say? I wish. Oh
Right.
shit. And so how did they come up with that?
And then
Well, as it turns out, prior to this, when you Google the name Aidan Kearney, now I'm the first thing that comes up.
Right.
But there is an Aidan Kearney in Ireland who apparently is like some star rugby bro.
Rugby player,
And
yeah.
his estimated worth, according to Toothfinder, is between $1 and $5 million. So that's how when he said on the internet, according to the internet, this is what he's worth. It's like, oh my God, we're dealing with the amateur squad. Holy shit. This is what they brought. Oh my God, this is going to be so easy. Let's fuck. Let's go. Let's go.
So Miss Krampus says, I can't wait for the docu-series.
Oh, it's gonna be awesome.
Paula's asking, how's Karen holding up? Do you know anything about that? Or
I mean, you see her at court. Does she look bothered?
yeah.
No, Karen's a confident woman who doesn't seem.
I will say this. Today, there was a lot of concern about Karen, and some very close sources told me that she's perfectly fine. Everything is fine. I guess the other side was trying to come out with a whole bunch of baloney today, that they had all this stuff that was going to drop and this and that. Sources told me, very close sources, that she's perfectly fine. So I wouldn't worry. Wouldn't worry.
Who's like me? She knows. She clearly.
Here's the thing. Y'all have to think this, and I still don't think this is going to get to trial. I think something's going to happen in the next 2 weeks. But let's just say this to give you all a confident boost here, okay? Because I know this has been the ultimate roller coaster over the last week. I mean, we went through the news cycle on my last stream. The last week has been fucking insane, okay? But let me give you a confidence booster here. Keep in mind, in the back of your mind, you need to keep this. And there's 3 words that I want you to remember, okay? There's 3 words that I want you to remember. If this goes to trial, which I still don't think it's going to, but if this goes to trial, there's 3 words that I want you to remember. Jackson, Yannetti, and Little. 3. Because I'm going to tell you, the minute that those witnesses get on the stand, they are going to be shredded like shredded wheat has never been shredded before. Just think, you have the ultimate best lawyers that could be handling this case, that are handling this case. There's no other lawyers that I would want handling this case. Karen Reed has been absolutely blessed with the best lawyers. And there is so much doubt in this case already that they don't even have to create, but they will make sure that they show all the doubt that is in this case. Remember, it's not the defense's responsibility, is the Commonwealth's responsibility to show that Karen Reed did this. And they are going to go in and shred everything. There's so many bullets in their chamber, because they have the truth. They have the truth ready to go. And they will go in and shred these witnesses and these so-called experts that are going to be brought up and possibly be witnesses to testify at this case, in this case. But please be very confident. I mean, look at her. Like he said, when she goes into court, does she seem worried? She's not worried. She has the best lawyers. She has the ultimately best lawyers. All right, let's keep playing through.
Knows that the facts are on her side and that she will never be convicted, and neither will I.
Cindy says, great show. Thanks for the $2. Let's see here. I got another question. What can you elaborate on in regards to the 2 handwritten notes you posted on Twitter or X?
So, yeah, I mean, I don't really have much. The reason I posted that note wasn't for the content on it. It was just to show that, like, my house is covered with notes. Like, when a source calls me up and I need to take notes, I just write it down in scrap paper, whatever's lying around. And sometimes I don't throw it out. And
These are notes of YouTubers. Look.
Those look typed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine ain't that fancy. Mine was written literally on like a Christmas pad.
Right.
And so I only posted those because I just wanted to show them that, like, there was some interesting information actually on those notes, like shit that I have not published yet because I couldn't confirm a lot of it. Like, for one thing in there was like that Higgins is fucked because he threw his phones in the pool. I could not confirm that. That's what a source told me. So I never, and that honestly shows that, like, he doesn't print everything. Like, he doesn't print shit that he can't back up. I mean, this was told to me, but I couldn't prove that. So I didn't print it, but I remembered it. And if somebody else says something similar in the future, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, now we got 2 sources saying the same thing. That makes it a little bit more legitimate. So, there were some things on there that I just wanted to show the world that, like for instance, on those, it said that I spoke to a source in the DA's office, and that he said that the FBI was in there 4 times. And that I go, was it a female agent? And because I know as a fact that the lead investigator for the FBI in this is a woman. And he said yes. And that's how I knew he was legitimate. Because I'm like, okay, that's pretty fucking specific. This guy, I mean, and I confirmed he did work there. And all of that was written in my notes. And I haven't published a lot of that. So I put it on Twitter, and I realized, I'm like, wait a minute, they saw that.
Put it on
They saw everything. They saw all my notes and everything.
Yeah.
And now they know it's coming. And it gave me such satisfaction because I know they're shitting their pants now. And I know they're going through my phone right now looking for more shit. A fishing expedition, if you will. So they're probably looking for some shit, but all they're, we're going to find some weird shit in there. I'm not going to lie.
Cheryl, you're going to have to help me out. I know I've seen your chat. I don't know what you're talking about, honestly. There's so much information that comes through on this in this case and the Canton 9 and all that. I'm not caught up to all of it, but if you want to share it in the chat, please type it out. Again, I'm sorry. I don't keep up with every single thing. I try to keep up with as much as I can. I missed a lot of the news cycle over the last 3 days. That's why I haven't really been streaming, because I've been down. But if you want to, feel free to share it with everybody here in the chat, please do. Because I honestly just don't know what you're talking about. And we would love to hear what you have to say. So please feel free to just type it up in the chat and let everybody know. All right, let's keep playing through.
You go through a man's phone, all his private DMs, you might find some weird shit. So, but what are they going to do with that?
Fleshlight on the way.
Don't judge. Don't judge. Yeah.
Sandra's asking, in your statement on X, formerly known as Twitter, you mentioned that you won't be stopped. Can you elaborate on that statement? I think he has in the last hour, but I won't speak for him. But
I'm not going to be stopped, man. It's just like, you're not going to stop me. I'm a free American.
Yeah, please feel free to share.
Country.
I just don't know what you're talking about.
To let some jackwagons stop me from being free.
So Unsilent Majority is saying, how high up dose the corruption goes. We know it's not Tully or Albert. Deep State wants to cover this up and frame Karen Reed, but why? What's the big picture?
No, that's really all it goes up to, I think, is the Norfolk County DA's office. I think it stops there. I don't think the feds are dirty. I mean, we know the feds have been incompetent on many things before. Kofi Doffer used to work for them, for crying out loud. And they're not above, mixing it up and framing people, obviously. But in this case, I believe that we can count on the feds. I think they're going to come through. I have confidence in them.
So Robert's asking, were there footprints in the snow from the house to where he was found?
I mean, how could there be? Because, at what time? Because it snowed 21 inches.
Yeah,
So
it wasn't
like
that.
any footprints would just get covered within an hour.
Can you talk about Jennifer Weasel Coffindaffer?
Yeah, she sucks, and she needs to do something about those bangs. It's not the 80s are over a long time ago,
everybody
girl. You're washed up. She's a crazy, libelous, menopausal woman who clearly gets off on herself and thinks she's like wicked important, but she's just an idiot.
So Canucks asking, wouldn't it be fun to run for mayor and win?
Of where? Cam doesn't have a mayor until, I mean, I'm the appointed mayor, but they have a system of government where they have a board of selectmen and not a mayor system. So the mayor is more of a ceremonial position.
CG says, I would be afraid of planted or created evidence. Are you not?
What does that mean? What are they going to plant?
Yeah, maybe he's asking, or she is asking about maybe planting some evidence in your phones or something.
Planting some kiddie porn in there or some shit like that. Yeah, good luck. Okay, we'll see how that goes. I don't know what they would do because I have my phone too. I mean, I have a mirror copy of the phone. Yeah. So good luck with that. I mean, if they try, I mean, everybody just nobody believes them anymore. It's just like when they came out and they were like, "Oh, we found more microscopic taillight on the shirt."
I'm just gonna say this. I just want to say this. Please, everybody, be careful. Be careful. If you're going to go to that standout on Tuesday, please be careful. Be smart about what you do. Don't give them anything because they're going to come after you too. Please be careful. I want everybody to be very careful and very peaceful if you're going to show up to the standout on Tuesday. Please be careful. Please be careful. It makes me a little bit nervous, but please be careful.
Everybody just laughs. Like, of course you did. Nobody actually, no one was like, oh my God, bombshell. Maybe Karen did it. We were all just like, of course you did. That's what you do. You just find taillight everywhere. Of course.
So Wheels is asking, can you ask Aidan what is the split in public opinion about this case? Is it 50-50?
Please be careful.
God, no. It's 99-1. That's what it is. Unfortunately, that one is the most important people, the people with all the guns.
So John saying Lally lied about Jessica Hyde's report saying that 2 a.m. The search did not happen. A report actually shows that the search did happen at 2:27 a.m. and at 6:20 a.m. search was a remembered search.
Yeah, Lally's lied about a lot of shit in court. He's a liar. He gets up there, lying lunchbox gets up there.
I mean, you've seen the news cycle over the week. That's all I have to say. You've seen the news cycle over the week. I think it's treading on really thin ice, that standout. And that's just my opinion. But please be careful. If you're going to go, very, 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 very peaceful. I just don't want to see anybody else caught up, locked up, put away, have to face all these frivolous charges, shit like that. But I urge everybody, please, 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 please be careful. Just be careful.
And, he said that our expert said that it didn't happen at 2:27. Actually, when you read the report from your expert, she says it did happen. It's just unknown why it said that time, but it also happened at 6:24. Because she did it twice. No one disputes that.
So Angela P says, can you not sue for false?
That's right,
you can sue for a lot.
You've got a good point. There is so much desperation right now that anything can happen. And that's not on this end. It's on the end of the police. And they will overreach and overstep. And that's what's been going on. Look what's been going on. So again, I'm just urging everybody, if you're going to the standout, be smart and be careful. Please. I don't want to see anybody else caught up in all this bull crap.
A lot of things. You can sue for a lot of things, Angela, and all avenues will be explored.
Yeah.
And Mary saying, you're right. They said at 2:27 was the time the original page was opened, and that and it's BS, as I tested all that on my phone. When you search at 2:27, that's the time it was done.
There you go. Exactly. Any moron with the no, you're not a moron, Mary, but anyone with them as an iPhone could conduct that same search, and anyone knows that it's bullshit. It's just like they just talk and talk and talk in court and hope to bore you to sleep. That is going to be an ineffective way to convince a jury that Karen Reed is guilty. But they don't give a shit about convicting Karen Reed. They have no desire to convict Karen Reed. The whole purpose of this is to avoid trying the people who actually killed them.
And then Laura says, with the feds investigating corruption, won't your arrest just prove that even more?
Thank you, Laura. That is exactly the point. Like here I am saying, all you motherfuckers are corrupt. You're covering shit up, and you're just trying to silence anyone who talks about this. And then who shows up at my house? The very same cops that I accused that of. It's just like, oh yeah, and that's why I wasn't even the least bit worried about them. Like, you guys have to understand how this is gonna look. Oh, I can't wait.
Turtle Cadet says 5 million. Can I get some of my donos back?
Yeah.
You're an investor, Turtle Get. When I get that 5 million, you're gonna get a lot more than your donos back. I promise you. I promise.
Nancy says, Daddy won the lottery. Let's see. Question. Here we go. SJ Howard.
I'm going to read this for Paul real quick, so just bear with me here. Paul, thanks for sending that over. It says, press release. This is for immediate release. Attention, all media. There will be a peaceful protest held at the Norfolk District Attorney's Office located at 45 Shawmut Road in Canton, Mass. on Tuesday, February 6th at the beginning of 3 p.m. This protest is organized by a group of concerned citizens who are standing up for our First Amendment rights, as well as yours as reporters. We will also stand up against corruption throughout the Norfolk County DA's office and Massachusetts State Police. As you are well aware, Josh Levy and the United States Attorney's Office are investigating the actions of both these entities in the Karen Reed case. They have also handed out various charges to other state police officers this week in unrelated cases. In the words that are said in court, quoting Josh Levy, in good conscience, we cannot let this case go to trial without sharing the information we have with both parties. The Norfolk County's DA's office is using an unconstitutional witness intimidation statute to keep an award-winning journalist in jail, charge 9 random citizens for protesting on a sidewalk, and most recently attempting to jail Karen Reed for using constitutional rights to fight for her freedom. One would think the media would be more interested in this corruption, given it would directly ramifications on not only your professionals. I'm sorry, I can't read this. Professionalism, but your basic rights as an American citizen. That's great, Paul. Just please be careful. Please. Any damage to the car that she hit and broke her taillight?
That's according to the police, there's none. There was no damage to John's Chevy Traverse. But there are rumblings that a man by the name of Carl Dougal may or may not have gotten a little paint job there. Now, I have no evidence of that. I asked him about that outside of court in September. He had no comment. Him and his chinless wife there, chin deficient, they did not have any comment about whether or not those rumors had any truth to them. So, unsure.
Janet's asking, yeah, throw your questions. I mean, you have Turtleboy here. I mean, come on, you can throw questions out there here. He'll answer them. So throw them in the chat. I haven't read your reporting on this case other than some X posts. I've also heard reports countering all of the doubts raised. How can someone be so certain of your work and the views on this case?
Just read my stories. Read the stories. Like the people on Twitter, or X as you call it. I'll always call it Twitter. I'm never calling it.
Me
X.
too.
Yeah, it's like fuck you, Elon. Go fuck yourself. It's Twitter. Stop it. Okay. I've also you've heard reports countering all of the doubts. You've seen people called Troll Homeo, and people called Krusty Panties, and people called Jennifer Kofindafer and Wendy Murphy. Mentally unstable, stupid people who are lying. They're not that stupid because they know they're lying, and nothing they bring up counters anything. If you actually follow I would encourage you, whenever somebody says something like that, don't just read their tweet, read the replies to their tweet. Read, because they get ratioed hard. Like when you get ratioed like that, you said something stupid. Read Olivia Lambo's tweets, right? Read Sleuthy Goothy's tweets. Like there's a lot of people out there who just destroy these people with facts.
Wheels again. What's the divide in the public opinion? We've already answered that. Let's see.
Compared to
Yeah,
pre-trial, he said,
okay.
It has been completely changed. I mean, I assumed before, I just assumed that she accidentally hit him. Now I know, but I didn't research it all. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Now I look into it, it's like, oh, no, obviously not.
Yeah. Liz is asking, has he seen what the Canton DDPW filed about the GPS data last week?
No, because they impounded it all. Last Tuesday, I called the Norfolk DA's office and no one would talk to me because I told them I was recording the phone call.
Oh, yeah, I remember that when you made the phone call.
And I was literally planning on Thursday to go down there and get it in person and film down there in person since they want to hang up on me. But, I got arrested.
Yeah, you arrested the next day, right?
Yeah, literally the next day I was arrested. So there's that.
J1 saying get a body cam Turtleboy and use it every time you leave your
Well,
house.
I stream every morning now at the bus stop. I start streaming just in case some shenanigans happen. We're going to get it on film this time.
Let's see. And Susan M said, I just bought your book on Amazon today. Very cool.
Oh, I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah.
I need to write another. There will be another book coming.
Oh,
eventually.
I'm sure there will be. I'm sure there will be. Let me see if I have any more questions. Thanks for the buck. I appreciate that. Thank you for all the super chats. We got another question here from Kay Baker. Did you give them your password? Interesting.
I had to because I had to call my mom. They kind of got you by the balls, and this is an angle my lawyer is going to look into, is like coercion almost. Like I don't know anyone's phone number. You don't realize it till it happens to you.
Fucking phone
and
number.
you're like, I need a ride home. I need to alert someone that this happened. I had no idea that the whole world was talking about this. I thought they were going to try to do it in silence. I didn't know if I was going to pull up to the courthouse and there was going to be people there. So I had to call my mom, and I don't know her number. So I had to give those motherfuckers my passcode. And if they're going to get in anyway, they got the gray key. They're getting in. So whatever.
So Just Me's asking, can you go give a quick rundown on the Jennifer Coffindaffer situation?
I mean, I just did a blog on it yesterday. Jennifer Coffindaffer is a TV personality, I guess, who pretends she's an expert on all things law and order, but is really just an attention-starved woman who just needs a good dicking, basically. I mean, she has you just need, you have way too much free time, girl. Where is your husband? Do something. And she just spends all day on Twitter pretending to be an expert and dismissing and getting ratioed all the people who point out how stupid she is when she blindly says stupid, laughable things trying to promote the prosecution's retarded theories. And we found out with a public records request that actually she's been talking to the prosecution this entire time. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So Angela P says, when does the FBI info come out? What will be the outcome of that?
Yeah. So the FBI info, what do you mean the info? I mean, I don't know when the FBI is going to make
so funny to me
I don't know when indictments come. It could come tomorrow. It could come a month. It takes a long time, and this would be a huge indictment. I think that they are probably waiting until we get, I think they want to see how far they're going to go with this. And I think that my arrest and my charging is like, dude, they're going to come after, the FBI is going to be like, okay, you're arresting another person. Okay. Like they're not helping themselves. These are the most retarded people. Oh my God. Anyway, go ahead.
That's okay. Nancy P saying Coffindaffer's claiming emailed their threats.
So I've never sued anyone before because it's a lot of work. And most people who make up things about you online are broke, and so you can't get shit from them. She's not broke, clearly. So she said
She's
that
not
she
broke.
made up a couple lies. She said I'm a known drug addict.
Not broke, and I can tell you how I know she's not broke. When I interviewed her like last year sometime, I interviewed her from her house, and holy shit, the background of her house, she got money. She got money.
That does cocaine. and which is a complete lie. And
Right.
that what she say? That I sent her kids. I sent her an email threatening to kill her kids. A complete lie. So I am talking to attorneys about that as well. The
Excuse me.
defamation claim.
Mhm.
What do you have to prove that taillight was planted? Well,
Planted.
it's really simple. There was no taillight at the scene at 6:20 when they searched it, and then there was taillight 12 hours later. So where'd that come from? Did it rain taillight? No, it was planted there. It's the only thing that it's the only possible solution.
Hmm. Let's see what else we got. Any more question? Okay says, how concerned are you about the CIs?
My CIs?
Do you think that they will go after him?
Oh, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they will try to track down or at least punish the sources. That's what this is all about, is just going through my phone. I mean, they are just so curious to know what I know, and they just use this as a way to find out.
Asking about the ring cam footage.
What's Sweet Aurelian?
Yeah, I don't know. To the press.
I don't know. I don't know what that means.
I don't
I don't know what that means.
Who's more charismatic prosecutor, Ken Mello or
Oh my God. That's a great question. I guess Ken Mello, I'll give him a shot. I've seen Lunchbox in action. Lunchbox you will fall asleep every time he talks. He's so bad.
MJ says the best show. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Let's see. It says it's crazy to me that the state is more concerned about Aidan trying to prove a woman's innocent than they are about a star witness in a high-profile case over the lead investigator's house.
Yeah, there's a lot of misplaced priorities. It's weird that they're not looking for that Ford Edge. You know, you'd think I hope they find that Ford Edge who was driving that, because that seems important. But yeah, you're right. Like, I find this major thing that proves without a doubt that the lead investigator is socializing with a witness in a murder case. And instead of being like, well, that's not good, we got to do something about that guy, they're like, let's go after the whistleblower. Yeah, they're the real problem. Sure.
Ellen's asking, where does the basketball team score come into this?
So they said that the Commonwealth is like, no, she couldn't have been looking.
Oh, that's right. I remember
She couldn't
that.
have been
Yeah.
looking at how long to die and cold at 2:27 because she had a window up for Ozone basketball. But newsflash, when you can have more than one window up on your phone. So when you X out of that Google search page, the next one propagates. And that was what she had up before. So that probably did come up at 2:27 and 40 seconds or whatever.
Right. So Paula asked, so she allegedly hit him, and then he got those marks on his arm from the claw of the Lexus where the DNA on her car was.
Where's the
DNA on her car, or the damage to his body, damage to the body of the car?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, these are great questions that rational people ask, and the police are like, oh, she must have did it because they said so.
So I'm Silent says, what is TB doing about attempted framing him? TB posted that he had receipts of enemy making it appear that all contacted all the so-called witnesses, that he contacted the so-called witnesses.
Yeah, so somebody spoofed my number to the to one of the witnesses that has a stay away order on me, I guess. So I just went and I shut down my phone, and I got my call log records printed out, and I proved my innocence.
Aaron says, I think the jumped on John O'Keefe. He hit his head on a bar. He hit his head,
I think,
on a barbell rack. I saw the weight room in the real estate listing. The weight rack is the same size as John O'Keefe. Laceration on the back of his head.
I mean, a lot of people have said that. That's their theory, and that's fine. I don't really care. All I know is Karen Reed didn't do it, and it's not my job to find out who did. It's the police's job.
Sure. Do you think ADA Lally will be broken by having to work this case too? What do you think about governor thinks? What do you think the governor thinks of this nonsense?
I don't know what the governor. I would hope the governor is going to do something about it, but I don't have much faith in her. What was the other question? Something about
nope, not that one. What do you think? ADA Lally?
So that's a good question. ADA Lally is already broken by it, and that, by the way, was also on one of my notes that I wrote down. This is what the source told me, that he is on the verge of a mental breakdown as a result of this. And
Ian, thank you. 4 a.m. in the UK.
And that's what I didn't
Weird,
publish
4
that,
a.m.
but they saw
Did
that
I?
written on the notes. So
Hmm.
that, again, I'm not saying this. The police have this information, so it might be out there now. That according to my notes that I never published, Lunchbox might not be that much of a fan of the ladies, and he's having a mental breakdown, and he's drinking, and his marriage is in trouble.
Hmm.
Not good. Yeah. Again, I didn't say that, but
Sure.
this is my
Allegedly.
notes. My notes said that I did not publish.
Allegedly.
They got my notes. Yeah.
Right.
Allegedly.
It's been talked about before, but what do you think about the Norfolk DA is covering for Proctor to save all his other
Yeah, I
cases?
think that's a very good theory. But I also think that the Norfolk DA is just plain corrupt. I think Brian Albert, I think he killed a hooker or something really bad that Brian Albert knows about. So he's got to protect Brian Albert at all costs. That's what I think.
So Lee's asking for the $9.99. Appreciate Lee. She says, instead of ripping Coffin Average physically, tell us about the audience. Tell
Another
the
10
audience
minutes. We're going to
who
wrap
she
this one
colluded
up.
with through
Thanks for
emails.
everybody being
So
here.
according to the records request,
Excuse me.
the DA spokesman, David Traub, has been in communication with her for over a month now, that he promoted her account. He referred a reporter by the name of Gretchen Voss to her Twitter account to get her news for the story that she was working on, her hit piece that she published. And then on September 1st, Traub forwarded a tweet that she had put out in which she basically covers for them and urges them. And he says that she has a large following, I think he called it enormous following on Twitter, and that we should use her to push back against Turtleboy's factual reporting. And then on September 7th, she left an 18-second voicemail with David Traub, who she claims she's never in contact with in the first place. Yeah.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, really weird. Why do you think John O'Keefe's
And
closed?
that's why I wanted to go back over this, Heidi, and just see how things were back in October of 23, and then looking what we know now. It's insane, right? It's crazy, and how I was still very, very new to the case back then. I only did a couple streams back in September, and I know so much more now, just like everybody else. And that's why I love going back and do this. Do these go back streams. Carrie, thanks for the 5. I appreciate it, and welcome in new members. Welcome in new members. All right, let's wrap this puppy up. We got about another 9 minutes, and it will wrap it up. And I appreciate everybody being here tonight. I'll be off tomorrow, but we'll be back live, guest hosting on TB's channel at 8 p.m. on Sunday.
Lack grease, oil, rubber marks, brake dust, or tailpipe soot. If he was hit by the rear of a portion of a car, no dirt or grass stains. Again, just more logical questions than anybody would.
Because Colin Albert doesn't have a tailpipe.
Excuse me.
It's just true. That's why.
Let me see here. She got a tripod and hung it out with Brian Enton during Gabby Petito case. That's it. How's it become real?
She inserted herself in the Gabby Petito case, and that's kind of how she became. And then she got addicted to the fame. And I hope these people are starting to learn this. I think I've broken these people, and they should never be invited back on television ever again.
And then Kells asked, what evidence do you have that the taillight was planted?
That question was asked like 10 minutes ago. So the evidence I have, there's no taillight there at 6. There was taillight at 5:45. It did not rain taillight. Therefore, it was planted. The end.
Okay, can they not still go in and search that house and check out the basement? Yeah,
I suppose, but the homeowner will let you in. She's real nice. She's pro Karen. She's completely pro.
Really?
Karen.
That's interesting.
Very pro. I had a conversation. Really nice.
I felt weird when I went down there the other day, a couple weeks ago, and streamed down there just to give my audience like a view of.
Yeah, just don't step on her property. You know, like
I was like, I don't know, like do you think I'm fucking weird or something?
And I'm sure she's used to it by now. It's like whoever moved into Chris Watt's house, or it's like it's a famous house. It's you know what I mean? At this point.
Right.
I like
and
to go back
as long as you don't step foot on the property or make a lot of noise, it's a public street. You can do that. It's
important to go back down there.
Tsunami's asking, wasn't there a vehicle that was in storage for 6 months and recently repainted that belonged to someone at that house?
You're getting your stories mixed up there. Carl has like a vintage car, and Carl Dougal, the cuck, Boston cop who is buddies with John and believes that Karen is guilty. He's an idiot. Comes to all the hearings. Well, Carl the cuck kept his car in storage at Karen's house for 6 months. So he found her useful enough to allow his car to be stored there for 6 months until he wanted to get it back. So he had to call David Yannetti up to try to broker that
My
deal. But that's
favorite Slayer
unrelated to
song,
the
Silent Scream.
allegation. Again,
Love
this
that
is not
song.
proven
Mhm.
that he had the car, the Chevy Traverse, John Chevy Traverse painted. So there's no evidence of that. But I asked Carl about it in person. He had no comment.
Calling that, what part of your defense can you access? As part of your defense, can you access their phone data?
Whose phone data?
Yeah, you got to be more specific.
Yeah.
That's not gonna help. Let me see. Are you concerned about being
Tanya,
tried
thanks
in
for the
court
3.
in such
Appreciate it.
a proven corrupt place like the Norfolk County?
Nah, man, because you know why? Because people like me, human and juries consist of people, and I'm very charming and I'm very convincing, and the facts are on my side. So I am not worried about that in the least.
Any leads on where the dog is?
Oh, and by the way, every lawyer I've talked to, every single lawyer, I always ask this: what if I was found guilty, which I'm not going to be? Am I going to jail? And it's unanimous. No, you're not going. Like in Massachusetts, bro. Like they let like violent criminals. You get like 10 chances in this state.
Yeah,
You ain't going to jail because of
that's like the
YouTube
first thing I
comments.
thought when
You
I
know?
heard all this. I'm like,
Yeah.
he's gonna get like probation, or they're gonna try to turn him down, or like,
Right.
I'm just thinking like he's not going to fucking jail.
The
for
whole
100
purpose
years.
isn't to send me to jail.
It's
It's
to
to
shut you
shut
down.
me up for a little
Right.
bit. Like that's the purpose.
Keep in mind, Kerry King's new band will be performing, I believe, in the summer of this year. He's going to be coming out. I'd be curious to see. It's obviously going to sound like Slayer. And they have that. Who's the drummer? That guy sucks, by the way. The drummer, they kicked out Lombardo and they got that fucking guy back. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he sucks. If you listen to any of the performances, just up until they left, until they gave up or retired, Paul, I can't think of his last name, but he sucks. His timing is terrible. He slows the band down and just sucks. Anyway, right. Any leads where the dog is?
Fuck the dog. I hate that question. I hope the dog is dead. That dog fucking ripped John's arm apart. It spent its entire life chewing up innocent people. That dog can go fuck itself. Fuck Chloe. That's my thoughts on Chloe. People are all concerned about Chloe. Chloe's a fucking wild wolf. There's like no difference between Chloe and a wolf. Stop it. You like coyotes too? Stop it.
All right, we're coming up on an hour and a half. I know Turtleboy's been streaming for like almost 4 hours, 5 hours.
Yeah.
I want to give him some time back to his family. I want to just thank everybody for hanging out this evening. I think it's been a lot of fun. Will you come back and hang out with us again?
I'd love to do it, man. Love to do it down the road somewhere for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll stay in contact, and definitely you'll see me out there in March at Karen's.
So surreal. Like we didn't get the second interview, but I got the opportunity to go over and guest host on his channel. That's so crazy. What a weird world we live in, man. Fuck.
Trial, because I'm going to be there for it. Maybe we can meet up and hang out and
for sure, bro. Hopefully,
cool.
if I'm allowed there. So yeah.
Well, yeah. Let us know. I'm sure we'll be following you on Twitter, on your YouTube and Facebook, and get all your updates. And again, man, I appreciate you taking this time. I know you've been like bouncing around on all these shows and streaming like 4, 5, 6 hours a day, and you have your own show to concentrate on too. So, we appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, man. All right, guys, we're gonna head out. Thank you so much. That's Turtleboy over there. I'm Brian, LTL Podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe, and come join us. You got all the turtles in the chat. That's good stuff there.
Love seeing it.
All right, we'll see you next time. Take care, guys. Have a good night.
Yeah, that was awesome. It was good. That was fun. Really fun. I mean, just getting to meet Aidan for the first time. It's cool. And I've only actually talked to him twice my entire life. That interview, and then when I saw him out on the court steps on November 1st. And that was, I shook his hand and I said, "Hey, you got to come back on my podcast?" He said, "Absolutely. I'd love to do it." So, it sucks. And I don't know, just have a lot to talk about when he gets out. I would like the opportunity to sit down with him like face to face. None of this fucking virtual shit. I want to talk with him face to face and just let him know that I appreciate every single thing that he's done for me. You know, giving me the opportunity to go over and run his channel and help him out. You know, and I've said it all along. I don't want anything. Just want a fucking handshake and a thank you. That's it. That's all that matters. And you know, maybe a friendship for life. That'd be cool. And just really getting to know who he is. But it's been an amazing journey so far, and it's opened me up to a lot of wonderful people that have come into my life, and I appreciate everybody that has stuck through and watched these lives and given me the encouragement to keep going, telling me to slow down, that I'm not going to listen to you all. I will never slow down. But it's been a real journey so far, and I hope, you know, after all this concludes and we have Aidan and Karen and the Canton 9 that walk out free people out of court, that we still have a lot to talk about and still have a lot of things to do, because I don't want this to go away. You know, I don't want this community to go away. You know, maybe we can pick something up and advocate for something else. You know, strength in numbers. So it's been an awesome journey so far, and I'm very blessed. And you know, this is only the beginning. It's just the tip of the iceberg. There's many, 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 many more years for this channel, and many, many more things and many more cases that, you know, we will continue to talk about. So with that being said, thank you all so much tonight. I appreciate you all being here. And I will be off tomorrow, but I'll be back guest hosting on TB's channel at 8 p.m. on Sunday. And then I will be back, hopefully, doing some of my regular shows. I have another show lined up. It's going to be, I don't want to give it away, but it's going to be a good show, and I need to work on it. I got an email from Sean. I finally got in touch with him, but let's just face it, Sean has been on 3 different shows in the last 3 days. I think it would just be a little crazy if I brought him on my show now. So I'm going to wait a little bit. I'm going to reach out to him. Maybe we set something up in a couple of weeks. Let's give him a break. Let's give everybody else a break. And I would love to have Sean over here. I've been on a panel with him on Dave's channel, which was great. I got to get Dave over here at some point and hopefully do some other things with Dave. And, you know, we'll go from there. But I will reach out to Sean at some point. We'll set something up maybe next week or the week after. Let's give him a little bit of a break. He's been on three shows in the last 3 nights. You know, I appreciate it. Sean, if you're watching, I'll reach out to you. I got your email today, and we'll go from there. So, okay. I'm going to get going. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate everybody that came over here and hung out tonight. And watch this kind of replay. And if you're not watching this live, make sure to please, you know, watch on replay and leave a comment. But I'm going to get out. Thank you all so much. I think Carrie had another $9.99. She said, thanks for all you do for the moment. It's not me. It's everybody. It's all these people. It's all these wonderful people. I just report. That's it. I'm just reporting. So everybody have a good night. I'll see y'all soon, and take care. Bye-bye.
True crime, we going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden and mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie. Getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. True crime, unraveling the web of evil. No stone left unturned. We dive into the crime. Yeah, we digging up the dirt, bringing justice to the crime. LTL True Crime, unveiling dark realities of the crime. Unraveling the web of evil. No stone left unturned. We dive into the